Putin Football First. I'm Tony Vidray. This man is Jonathan Pointer. We are celebrating a Russian victory this morning.
Cheers all.
Oh, that's tough first thing in the morning.
Welcome everybody, welcome, and what a night. What a night of football.
I'm awake now.
Yeah, I'm going to throw up now, but anyway. Good morning. Yes, we will get to the games in a second. Firstly, our shirts. Now, a big nod to our new sponsor, for Everything Football. Guys, we're not wearing the shirts this morning. We wanted to give a little nod to my team, the Brankston Wildcats.
I thought it was because they smelt from last night.
Don't tell them
We'll
that.
wash them, don't worry. No, we won't.
Dry clean. Big shout out to the Wildcats. Tony,
Right.
I coached all three of my kids through Wildcats. A few grand finals in there.
Yeah, right.
And a big
scarred
shout
for
out
life.
to all of them. Now, interestingly, there is a player that used to play in my team. I think it was the under sixes or the under nines. Her name's Elodie Dag.
Right.
And she's gone on to play in. Well, I think she's almost in the. Almost in the Jets women's.
Yeah,
teams.
right. Nice.
She's fantastic.
Nothing to do with you, but
and
well done.
absolutely to do with me. I take credit every time she gets a story in the paper. Elodie, good morning, and Pari, how are you?
Well done.
Everybody at the Brankston Wildcats, and of course, you've managed to drag Italy back into the show.
Oh, look, just mix it up a little bit.
They're not allowed. They're not allowed. They've been banned.
It's not Italy.
It's not Italy. It's not Italy.
They're football shirts. We're enjoying football.
But back to the Russia game. Russia, Egypt. Who would have thought that we would be looking at Russia as the first team to get through to the knockout stage?
And having scored 8 goals in 2 matches as well. So they ran rampant this morning. A little bit of luck, but
I don't
you
think
make
so.
your own luck.
I don't think so. Whatever the Russian team is on, I want some. I've never seen a team fitter. They were still running at a manic pace at 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the Egyptians just did not know what hit them.
They weren't in the same. They weren't in the same class.
And look, if this is what it is, I'm going to drink some more of that because as hard as it is.
The Russian. What were you saying about the Russian coach?
Yeah, I might have said something about pushing shit uphill with a pointy
something
stick.
about a stick. Yeah,
And,
I'd expect him to get another phone call from Putin this morning saying congratulations, it's going according to plan.
Look, we wrote him off. We did. We wrote the Russians off. We
Yeah.
said it was going to be impossible and that he would possibly be taking a quiet plane trip before the last match. But no way, he will have a statue.
Look, at the end of the day, if this is a sort of performance from one of the teams that's the lowest ranked nation in the World Cup, then it's terrific to watch.
But then that's the thing, isn't it? Because they automatically qualified, there were no sort of qualification process. So we really didn't know what the team was going to be like.
It's always a trap.
Well done. And Cherchesov, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And to the Russian crowds, have a ball.
Yeah.
And look, if Australia do get knocked out, I'm actually going to change. I'm going to revert to my ancestry. And I'm going to go for Russia.
There's a bandwagon in town. Look, it's just gone past. Jonathan's jumping onto it.
No. There is the Nichols family descended. I'm descended from the Nichols. So,
right.
Hi, Mum, if you're there.
Nichols, the second most popular Russian surname in Russia.
Indeed. So if the Aussies are out, I'm Russian for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, wonderful.
So do you want to talk about that game?
Which one? The Russian game?
Yeah. I mean, I know we've been babbling on, but the actual game itself.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
They played out of their skins, the Russians. I was really impressed. And Egypt never looked in it. I felt for Mo Salah, he's obviously not himself.
Yeah.
He just couldn't do it.
He played well within himself. But
there was a moment. It was 0-0. Mo Salah got the ball in the box. He did a beautiful spin. Had a shot. Missed. And from that, I think that it was almost symbolic. It was like Egypt, it's not going to work.
That's it. And a lot of their shots just went, about a foot, just under a foot wide of the post each time. They were just off the pace. And the Russians, the big striker, I forgot his name. Zubi. Zubi. He's just a beast. Like he's just so physically strong and just bumped the Egyptian defenders around as if they weren't there. So.
Yeah, but they were also really well organised. So not just the players putting it in. The organisation was fantastic. Looking forward to seeing the next match.
Well, again, if they come out of the group, they'll meet either potentially Spain or Portugal. So it'll be
could be the end of the road there. But who knows? Who knows? Whatever they're on, it's working.
And then you'll jump onto the Spanish bandwagon because Nichols is probably a Spanish
name. Hello.
Nichols is a Spanish name.
Did I mention my middle name?
Hola.
Okay, on to what was my favourite game of the evening, Japan-Colombia.
Yeah.
This was a disappointment, but also for the Japanese, a welcome win.
Look, it had everything. Like in the first couple of minutes. Well, to start with, Honda for Japan wasn't on. James for Colombia wasn't on. So straight away you thought, oh, this is interesting. And there were
the two players I was watching for.
The two players we spoke about and that we're looking forward to. They had fitness issues. They did come on later within a minute at like 30 seconds of each other.
And it did make a difference.
And did, yeah. Within the first 2 minutes, we had the second fastest send-off straight red card ever.
Yes.
Correct decision, penalty. I timed the Colombian player Sanchez. Took him a minute and a half to walk off the field, which I thought...
like it was going to make it... Maybe he'll change his mind.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I got it wrong. Yeah. No, off. So Japan up 1-0 and good value for 1-0. And for the next half an hour, I was really disappointed with Colombia. They were all over the place. They really... Look, they counter-attacked and they had a couple of little incisions, but again...
They weren't themselves.
They weren't themselves.
A bit like Egypt, they just were not themselves.
But they were rattled with 10 men. Come in, the coach, I'm really going to look forward to your coach's corner on Peckerman. The Colombian coach did a tactical switch in about the 30th minute, very reminiscent of go back to USA 94 when Pagliuca got himself sent off for Italy, the goalkeeper, and Arrigo Sacchi, the coach, they call him the madman, the mad professor. He actually took Baggio off the field, the best player off the field. Baggio to this date still thought they put the wrong number up. He went off, and one of the Italian players came on. Sacchi at the end of the match said, look, I love Roberto Baggio, but I had to sacrifice creativity to have 10 hardworking players, playing with 10 men. That was a match against Norway.
A game that from the north of Italy.
But they won that game. They ended up winning that game 1-0 with 10 men. So, Peckerman, again, 30th minute, tactical change, and all of a sudden, Colombia started moving it around, and it was Japan that was then on the back foot. They luckily won a free kick just before the 40th minute. That wasn't a free kick, and we might show footage of that. The free kick should have been the other way to Japan. But from that free kick, very cleverly, instead of going over the wall, he went under the wall.
I love seeing them do that. I love it.
He went under the wall, and then they had to use goal line technology to confirm that the ball had actually crossed.
But
well, with the naked eye.
What I loved was that the Japanese goalkeeper is lying on top of the ball in the goals, and he looks up and goes, "It wasn't over. It wasn't over."
With a little finger waving. So anyway, everyone knew it was a goal. So then
10 out of 10 for attempts and for effort.
All of a sudden, it was 1-1. But again, the thing that watching the Colombian supporters have to be the loudest supporters that I've heard to date, and they are louder than the Russians. They were phenomenal behind the goals,
and they're great to watch.
Oh, they were right into it. So 1-1 at half time, you thought, okay, they're going to come out in the second half and overrun them. And then Japan got a second goal from a set piece. With the Japanese striker who outjumped 3 Colombian defenders within the 6-yard box.
Japanese striker winning with a header. It's
unbelievable.
Great.
So, it had everything this game. And even going back to that free kick just before half time in that match, that became the 4th goal at this World Cup that went in direct from a free kick. Going back 4 years ago, there were 3 goals scored in the entire World Cup direct from free kicks.
That was unusually low, though.
It was low, but already before we've even finished round 1, we've already exceeded last World Cup's total.
Oh, look, this World Cup has everything so far. And look, can I just make a point? The Colombians during their national anthem, it's one of the highlights of watching the World Cup for me, and I really want Australia to take something out of it. Tone deaf to a man, they stand there belting out their national anthem, eyes closed, smiles across their faces. It was just even in Rodriguez, he had a smile and he was belting it out. I love that. I really love it.
I'm undecided on singing the national anthem as a player. Like, do you just knuckle down and concentrate on what you've got to do, or do you just have that outpouring of nationalism, at that point?
Yeah, maybe they lost all their energy during the singing of the national anthem. That's the problem.
Save the nationalism for after the game when you win, and then just
focus before. I like belt it out, be proud.
Just have eyebrows like Sam the Eagle from the Muppets.
Do that again. Can we zoom in on that? No, Harrison doesn't want to zoom in. Okay, fine. No, look, it was great. And look, that makes us Japan the first Asian team to ever beat an African team in the World Cup.
No, a South American.
South American team,
Colombia's it's that way in the world.
I'm tired. The other left.
The other left.
But it's the first time an Asian team's ever beaten a South American team, which Japan, hats off to you.
Well done.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sake.
I'm
not drinking that. Sake, yes. So that's great, and look, it has turned that group upside down.
Totally. Yeah.
We're starting to get to the business middle of the tournament, and who would have thought that in that group you would have Japan and Senegal on top,
well,
and Poland and Colombia.
Well, I rated Senegal. I thought I rated them above Poland. So we're going to the Senegal-Poland match now.
Yep.
Poland always had the danger of being a one-man team with Lewandowski up front, and
their games before the World Cup, though, their warm-up games.
Yeah,
they were
I agree.
Like a very strong outfit.
But the danger was that they could be that one-man team, and last night they showed they were a one-man team, and Senegal essentially just ran over the top of them. A little bit of luck with a deflected goal to start with, an enormous amount of luck with the second goal, which was just. I thought it was, again, calamitous defending by Poland, and just a shout out to the former Arsenal keeper who came running off his line. Straight up. Well done, Sir Chesney. Just you've learned a lot from Wenger.
Just so everybody knows, the keeper came off his line, ran right outside his box to try and stop a rampant attack, missed the ball completely, and Senegal just had to chase the ball into the net.
Which made it 2-0, and then Poland scoring in the 91st minute to make a game at 2-1 was a little bit too late.
Yep. So there we are.
Lots of goals, 2-1, 2-1, 3-1.
Great results last night, and we'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Putin Football First. And in some breaking news, it looks like there's a big question mark over Neymar. Looks like he's had a hairdressing accident.
Yes, no, well, that would be easy to fix, but apparently he does have a mosquito bite on his ankle and may miss the next game.
That's it, he's out.
No, seriously, he's pulled up at training. The media is beating it up. I think he'll be in the next game, but there is a possibility we may not see Neymar for the next
he was limping in that match partway through the first match that they played.
He couldn't take
against
that
the
corner.
Swiss. He had to give the corner to someone else, so there is something wrong with his foot.
Get mum down with the Denko rub, he'll be fine.
Yeah, and a box of tissues.
Indeed. All right, in some other news, sad news, unfortunately, some Jets news. Sad news is it's broken today that Riley McGree, he's not actually owned by the Jets, but he will play for Melbourne City next year, not the Jets. Of course, owned by, if I can use that term, Club Brugge.
Yes.
He was always on loan to the Jets, and now he's on loan to Melbourne City. So
as long as
he doesn't like Brugge anymore.
As long as he doesn't score scorpion kicks against us, I'm fine with it.
We could tie his shoelaces together. All right, and in some late-breaking Socceroos news, the Socceroos have landed at Samara.
Yes.
That's about it, really. Not much news around the Socceroos, although I do want to ask you, Tony, what the lineup for the next game? All right, I know it's Denmark, but the question mark is over Rogic.
Yeah.
Should he play?
When you ask me questions about lineups, I think there's more qualified people in the world to talk about lineups.
In the room, I think. But Harrison, what are you up to?
Ask the mouse that's in the corner as well. He knows more than me. Look, I think at the end of the day, we know that the Danes pose a huge threat in midfield. I think we need to strengthen up our midfield. Whether Jednak takes on that role of marking Eriksson, he should. But then what happens if he loses track of him? Do you bring on Juric, who might be able to do a little bit more? And then or Moy, or even Dimi Bertrand, or someone who
bring on Dimi,
that might be able to contain that midfield. Do we go again, change the formation and flood that midfield? Put 3 or 4 in midfield to try and stifle the Danes' creativity.
Nabbout up front and Dimi in the middle.
Arzani up
there
front.
You go. I would never presume to tell Mr. Van Marwijk what to do, but we want Nabbout up front and Dimi in the middle, please. It will work.
We need to win this match. If we draw, then mathematically we could still get in. If you're relying about 3 or 4 other results to get through.
But Shit Creek without a paddle.
That's it. We need to win this. So put on Arzani for 60 minutes and maybe bring on even Cahill.
Arzani can't run for 60 minutes.
60?
Bring him on for 40. Right.
Yeah,
early second half, really shake things up if we need to.
That's it, yeah.
Terrific. All right, well, look, that's it on the news front. Tony, take us through the games that are on tonight.
All right, so let's go, it's a little bit out of order, but let's round out Group A, where, of course, Russia defeated Egypt. So the other 2 teams now, Uruguay come up against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, again, on paper, that looks like a little bit of a mismatch based on
but you've got a theory
previous
on this
result. Well, my theory is that if Uruguay win this, then Russia and Uruguay make it through to the next round. They'll both be on 6. The other 2 teams will both be on 0. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia really need to come out and probably apply a very attacking formation. That'll just play into Uruguay's hands. And I think Uruguay will have enough firepower to even send.
And yet, off air, you were saying that you thought Saudi Arabia might jag this one.
Well, they might, but again, they need a lot of things to go right. And I think even Suarez having an off day will score goals a lot easier than the Saudi Arabians.
I tend to agree with you. What's the next game?
Next game, okay, so then we flip to Group B that gave us that mouth-watering fixture of Spain against Portugal. So both those two teams now go their separate ways, and Portugal meet up against Morocco, and then Spain play against Iran. So again, on paper, and again, it's funny how the fixture list works out. If Spain had met Portugal in the last game, you kind of would have assumed that they probably would have beaten those other two teams, both been on 6 points, and then fought it out.
They'd have a little practice game on the park.
That's it, yeah. Or play out an orchestrated 1-1 draw and save themselves for the round of 16. But they had to go hell for leather in that first match. So now it leaves them, to beat the other two teams in the group. I think they should be able to do it. I don't think Morocco will cause Portugal problems. Could be a little bit of a banana peel, but I think Spain will have a lovely time against Iran.
Yeah, no, the only theory that comes into play there was, has Portugal played their big match of the tournament against Spain? Are they going to be able to get back up and play another brilliant game?
I don't think so. Again, they won Euro, the previous Euro tournament. Yeah, a while ago, they beat France in the final. So that's a long tournament.
Some solid form.
Yeah, that's a long tournament. So they've had that tournament experience only a short time ago of having to play multiple matches and knockout matches, semi-finals. The pressure of a final. So I think they've got a bit of experience, obviously.
And the last game tonight?
Iran against Spain. Iran, Spain. There's only 3 matches tonight.
Look, I'm tipping Iran for this game.
Yeah, so
I'm going to go right out on a limb.
So as I mentioned, Iran versus Spain.
My dark horse.
Yes, your dark horse. Yeah. Again, we might get your proverbial stick out because they might be pushing it up a hill.
I'm already trying to digest that coach's hat from the Churches of Coach's Corner.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, fantastic. Look, we're going to throw, speaking of coaches, we're going to throw now to Coach's Corner.
Who have we got?
We've got Peckerman.
Peckerman, wonderful.
That's your request.
Yes, wonderful. Peckerman, the coach of Colombia.
Jose Peckerman is the coach of World Cup hopefuls Colombia. Colombia made the world sit up and take notice at the last World Cup, progressing deep into the competition and boasting the tournament's top scorer, James Rodriguez. With a bigger lineup of stars this time around, expectations are even higher. Don't let this Argentinian's appearance fool you. There is more life in this wily character than a Mexican fan with a case of Red Bull. As a youth coach for Argentina, he won the FIFA World Youth Championship 3 times and the Under-20 South American Youth Championship twice. He coached the Argentinian national team to the quarter-finals in 2006's World Cup and became coach of the Colombian national team in 2012. Peckerman has qualified Colombia for 2 World Cups in a row now and is largely responsible for the growing reputation of the country's national team. It hasn't been without controversy though. He's well known for his habit of experimenting with lineups and player combinations. While this has worked more often than not, when it goes wrong, the Colombian fans aren't happy. Typically defensively strong, the Colombian side has a unique ability to switch speeds at which they play, often during a game. Peckerman will often employ a 4-2-2-2 formation, which usually comes with 2 defensive midfielders whose job it is to cover marauding outside backs. The tricky thing with Colombia is that the defensive midfielders are often given permission and have the skills to maraud themselves. It can give the impression of an overwhelming attack with lots of players forward. The only catch is, for this World Cup, his fullbacks seem to be out of sorts, and this tactic can leave them exposed at the back sometimes. That said, the pure talent of the likes of Rodriguez, Falco and Quintero will make the Colombian team hard to deal with for anyone, and great to watch. The Los Cafeteros is never a team to underestimate. Jose Peckerman is perhaps the most astute coach in the tournament, able to juggle formations during a game with deft skill. He has explosive talent at his disposal and the ability to shift gears more than once in a game. Possible problem, whether the players he has this time can adapt under pressure, and will the quick changes end up in confusion instead of agility? In many ways, a coach of this caliber almost needs a team that can keep up with him mentally. We won't know if this particular combination of stars can until they take the field. Their group in this tournament looks to be an easy one to predict, with Poland being the only team that could really threaten. If this team makes it past the quarter-finals this time, it will be Peckermann's wily skills as much as the young stars on the paddock.
Oh, gee, you get a taste for this after a while. This is magnificent. What did I miss? Was it coaches something or other? We're talking about your coaches, your Brankston bulimic something or others.
Where are we going next, Tony?
I don't know. I'm having another.
It's your segment.
I'm having another
It's
one.
your segment.
It's refs riffs.
That's the one.
Germany 2006. Australia qualified for just its second World Cup 32 years after its first appearance. After doing the country proud and making it to the round of 16, Italy awaited the Socceroos. Referee Luis Medina Cantillao from Spain bravely showed Marco Materazzi a straight red card in the 50th minute for a foul that most referees would have feebly handed out a yellow card. Surely for the Socceroos it was that little bit of luck you need in a football match. Lady Luck abandoned the Socceroos in the 4th minute of additional time added on at the end of the match when Fabio Grosso was fouled by Lucas Neal inside the Aussies' penalty area. Cantillao was in the absolute best position to see the incident and instantly awarded a penalty to the Italians. One of the cardinal sins in footballers is defenders sliding in. Lucas Neal should have stayed on his feet. By sliding in, he allowed Grosso to tumble awkwardly over the top of him, and the referee obliged in awarding the penalty. Despite replays showing that Grosso had milked the foul, watching footage in real time, few referees would have denied the penalty requests. Having been sent off in the previous World Cup, Francesco Totti stepped up to put Italy into the quarter-finals. It was cruel on the Socceroos. They had been brave and they had taken the match to Italy. Interestingly, both Materazzi and Grosso would go on to be central characters in that tournament's final. Materazzi for being the recipient of a headbutt from Zidane and Grosso scoring the winning penalty. The Socceroos had been knocked out at the round of 16 by the eventual winners of Germany 2006.
Thank you, Tony. Always entertaining, your refs riffs. Always entertaining.
Ouch. I learned a couple of things already this morning.
We're going to finish up now. We're going to finish up. Yeah, you just.
I learned a couple of things. Don't drink vodka first thing of the
I'm
morning,
learning
kids.
one thing or two as well.
Don't drink it on an empty stomach as well.
True. And raspberry vodka seems to be your thing.
Exactly.
All right. Look, everybody, thank you for joining us. We're going to wrap it up now. A couple of things. We'd like to thank Adrian the Pom for being our reporter yesterday. Adrian, you were a hit on social media, and as a result, we have another guest reporter coming up for the Germany matches. And anyone else that wants to report on a game, please hit us up on Facebook and let us know.
No more
hitting.
You're
awake.
No more hitting.
And look, again, thanks to our sponsors, Everything Football down there at Katara. Thank you very much. Yep. We'll be back in the shirts tomorrow.
Everything Vodka.
And speaking of vodka, our mates at...
Don't worry about them.
Murray's Brewery. No. We'd prefer to be drinking beer.
No, don't worry about them anymore. This is
okay. Now, of course, you won't be with us tomorrow.
Why not?
You wouldn't believe it, but Tony has a business function to go to tomorrow morning. So I will be joined by none other than Phil Dando, who won't be wearing a onesie, but he won't be drinking either. So we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Cheers.
Don't drink, kids. Oh, no. Oh.